Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. In this video, we are talking about top 10 military powers in the world 2022. But before we continue our video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for more. There is an old saying that a country can develop only if its borders are secure. This is the reason why almost all big nations around the world spend hefty amounts on their military budget every year. The military strength of a nation depends upon the power of its air force, army, and navy. Defense enthusiasts around the globe keeps wondering about the top strongest militaries in the world 2022. Number 10, Brazil. Active soldiers, 360,000. Annual budget, $18.7 billion. Air Force, 679 aircraft. Armored combat vehicles, 1,958. Navy Fleet Forces, 112. Brazil is currently among the countries that have one of the 10th most powerful armies in the world. Historically, the country's armed forces date back to the period of Portuguese colonization, where the main objective was to protect the country from the invasion of other colonizers. After independence, the Brazilian army was involved in internal conflicts and was also an ally in the two Great World Wars. Number 9, Pakistan. Active soldiers, 640,000. Annual budget, $7.6 billion. Air Force, 1,387 aircraft. Armored combat vehicles, 9,950. Navy Fleet Forces, 114. Pakistan's army was formed after the partition of India, which resulted in the country's independence in 1947. Today, it is the 9th most powerful army in the world, and since its inception, it has been involved in 4 wars with neighboring India and has also had several border conflicts with Afghanistan. It is worth mentioning that this is also the largest army in numbers of soldiers of an Islamic country in the world. Number 8, United Kingdom. Active soldiers, 194,000. Annual budget, $68 billion. Air Force, 693 aircraft. Armored combat vehicles, 5,015. Navy Fleet Forces, 75. The British Army ranks on the list as the 8th most powerful in the world. Its history in wars has made the Army and the country become a symbol of prestige among the armed forces of the world. Throughout its history, the United Kingdom participated in the Napoleonic Wars, in the United States Revolution, and in the First and Second World Wars, which was decisive in making this army one of the most influential in the world and establishing the country as a military and military power. Economic. Number 7, France. Active soldiers, 205,000. Annual budget, $40.9 billion. Air Force, 1,055 aircraft. Armored combat vehicles, 6,558. Navy Fleet Forces, 180. What best defines the French Army is its historical prestige. According to British historian Niall Ferguson, of all the documented conflicts that took place since 387 BC, France was present in 168 of them, won 109, and lost 49 battles. Today, the French army ranks 7th among the strongest and most powerful in the world. Number 6, South Korea. Active soldiers, 555,000. Annual budget, $46 billion. Air Force, 1,595 aircraft. Armored combat vehicles, 13,990. Navy Fleet Forces, 234. The main objective of South Korea's mighty army is to keep the country safe from threats and conflicts with North Korea. Currently, they are the 8th in number of active soldiers and have one of the largest numbers of reservists in the world. This is because military service is mandatory in the country, where all young people must spend 21 months in training. Number 5, Japan. Active soldiers, 240,000. Annual budget, $47 billion. Aircraft, 1,449 aircraft. Armored combat vehicles, 5,500. Navy Fleet Forces, 155. Although Japan ranks 19th in the number of active soldiers among armies around the world, the country ranks 5th among the most powerful on the planet. This is due to the high investment in technology and advanced training. Currently, the Japanese Constitution prohibits the country from waging war to resolve international disputes. Number 4. India. Active soldiers, 1.4 million. Annual budget, $49.6 billion. Air Force, 2,182 aircraft. Armored combat vehicles, 12,000. Navy Fleet Forces, 295. The creation of the Indian Army took place in 1947, when the country became independent from the United Kingdom and inherited part of the war power of Great Britain. The Army had conflicts that resulted in wars against China and Pakistan. Among the main missions of this Army, peacekeeping and border patrol and anti-terrorist operations stand out. Number 3. China. Active soldiers, 2 million. Annual budget, $250 billion. Air Force, 3,285 aircraft. Armored combat vehicles, 35,000. Navy Fleet Forces, 777. China has the largest army in the world by number of active soldiers. Not surprisingly, the country is the most populous in the world. The country is also the second most funded country in the armed forces, behind only the United States. The great development of China in recent years makes experts project that the Chinese army will become even stronger in the coming decades. Number 2. Russia. Active soldiers, 850,000. Annual budget, $154 billion. Air Force, 4,173 aircraft. Armored combat vehicles, 30,122. Navy Fleet Forces, 605. Currently, Russia has the second most powerful military force in the world, formed in 1992. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the Russian army was one of the most invested in military force in recent decades. Russia is also one of the few countries that produce its own military equipment, having the largest number of tanks and rocket projectors among all armies in the world. Number 1. The United States. Active soldiers, 1.3 million. Annual budget, $770 billion. Air Force, 13,247 aircraft. Armored combat vehicles, 45,193. Navy Fleet Forces, 484. The United States is the country with the most powerful and strongest army in the entire world. This happens because in addition to having the third largest army in terms of active soldiers, it is also the one that invests the most in the armed forces. To give you an idea, the country invests $770 billion in the army, while China, the second country that invests the most, has a budget of $250 billion. The United States also has the most advanced technology for combat and defense today. That's all for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed our video. For more videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for more interesting videos. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.